Hello, and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. And today I'd like to talk about a little bit about something that you probably already are aware of, but it's just a gentle, loving reminder. Part of loving yourself is about taking care of your body. And actually, body, mind, and spirit, like it's a whole package. And today, though, we're going to talk more about the body and just a gentle, loving reminder. And I'm just going to share a little bit about the experiences that I've had because I'm going to be totally honest. It has not been, sunshines and rainbows over in the body loving department for most of my life. Like it started way in my teenage years, and I look back at pictures and I'm like, what was I thinking? I was not fat, but in my mind, I was fat at the time. And then when we were moving, I found measurements and my weight charts from going to the gym because they used to have you measure and weigh yourself, I think like once a month or whatever it was. You'd sit down with the manager and things like that. And that alone, I just look at and going, wow, my mindset is so different now about my body. It's not about like, do I feel good about my body, or do I love you because the weight tells me I should, or my measurements tell me I should? Loving your body starts with where you are right now. It doesn't matter how you look, how you feel. The more you love it, the more awesome it will feel, and the more you'll feel good in your own skin, aka whatever weight you want to be will come your way when you get there. But it's about loving your body through that process. I even think about my kids. It's like I love them no matter what, and I tell them on a regular basis. Like if they make a mistake or they do something that I might get upset about, like breaking a piggy bank or something, I get frustrated, but I'm like, you know what? That's okay. It was a mistake. I might be mad, but that doesn't mean I don't love you any less. So it's like focusing on, I still love you, and that's same with our bodies. We need to embrace and love our bodies regardless of what's going on with them, because the more we love them, the more they will love us back. I've definitely had a hard time with this on more than one occasion. And I'm going to be honest, I still have troubles with it at times. And I have spent so many years trying to eat healthy. And I was the calorie counter, calories in versus calories out. And it's been crazy. I remember I was at a really good weight when I met my husband just over 12 years ago. And then I slowly just kept putting on the weight, even though not too much has changed, other than maybe my happy hormones were taking over. And I know we were definitely eating out a little bit more, but I was teaching fitness classes and all this stuff, but I just kept putting on the weight to the point where my husband, it was my boyfriend at the time, obviously, but my husband now, my now husband, was like, you should go to the doctor and see if it's your thyroid or like something's going on. And I remember going to the doctor and, he did blood work and things like that. And he's just like, it's really just calories in, calories out. And I have learned a lot since then that it's not just calories in and calories out. I have learned a crazy amount that everybody's bodies are different, and I'm not going to go crazy into this because it doesn't need to be focused so much on like a lecture of how to, but it's finding your footing and then figuring out what feels right. And I know part of my journey for loving my body has really come into listening to my body. Other people have ideas of what's right, but that's not really always the case. Like this doctor came in and said, it's this way. And there's now been evidence that is not true. Now I still see it today, like all over the place where that's a belief, like that's still how people believe. And that's totally cool. That's your thing. That is totally cool. But that has not worked in my area. Some of the things that I've discovered, and it's like my top 3 things that I focused on right now. And then I'll, then it's, lecture over for food intake and things like that. I promise. Is I focus on the 3 S's for me. And that is sleep, getting enough sleep. The scale goes up And we're not even talking, because loving your body doesn't necessarily, like, it's so funny because I said, the scale doesn't, should not be an indicator if you should love your body today or not. However, part of me wants to get to a healthy weight again because I love my body. So it's like this fun intertwined thing is that, I want to live for, I want to be around for my children, and I want to take really good care of my body. And I was sitting at a really unhealthy weight over when my son wasn't sleeping for 2 years. And it was really awful. And then I've lost some of the weight, and I can feel my energy. I can do more. I am more focused. And it's not so much the scale, but it's just getting back to a healthy weight for me. And that's personally mine. So, and I know that if I don't pay attention to that number, at least a little bit, is that I will forget. And I can get life can kind of take over. And I know for me, I've gotten to the point where I step on that scale, or before I step on, actually, I go, whatever this number says doesn't mean I'm any less of a person or that I love you any less body. Like, it's just an indicator of where I'm sitting right now in this moment. And when it's this thing, it's like when you know better, you can do better. So for me, the scale is definitely a part of my life still. Some people say, like, throw it out, get rid of it. It depends on what kind of relationship you have with the scale. And that's like with anything in life. You have to figure out where you're sitting with that. But if you are like I used to be, like, I would cry when I got on the scale. I remember when I was at the gym, fast forward, like, go back, rewind to the gym where we would measure and weigh. And I was there probably, I think I was there 7 days a week. I was taking 3 classes in a row, and I was just like, go, go, go. And my manager, and this is way back, like, this is before I even met my husband, way, way back. And I look at the weight on those charts now is like, wow, if I could just even get back to that number, I would be like super happy and probably very healthy. Anyways, but I was going every day. And then I would weigh in. It was almost like, dun, dun, dun. Like, what are the results going to be today? Am I going to be happy or am I going to be sad? And most of the time, like, I would just walk out of the manager's office crying. And she's like, how is this possible? Like, you're here every day. You're doing this and like all this stuff. And I would just cry. And I was eating really clean, or at least, let's go back. I was thinking I was eating very clean because everything, maybe not clean. Let's not go with clean. That's a whole different take now on this world. But I was eating very little calories. And I was just devastated. And every time. And it's like, that is where we, when we put that kind of pressure on us, then we can't love ourselves fully where we are. And I'm not saying you can't, step on that scale, because I still do. But if you don't feel good about it, maybe it's time to say goodbye to your scale for a little bit. Tuck it away, let somebody else borrow it for a while, whatever it might be, and things like that. So I'm just wanted to share a little bit about like kind of where I've come from. Like, it's been a very, very unhealthy journey for me and my body. We have not had a very healthy, loving relationship with one another. But however, I finally actually feel like I'm on the right track. Finally, like in forever years, like even being a fitness instructor and doing all these different things, and even taking a nutrition course when I became an empowerment coach. Part of it was actually a nutrition course as well. And I just feel like finally, for the first time in a very long time, feel like might be on the right track. Because over the Christmas holidays, I decided it was okay to take part in the Christmas cheer. No judgment, just enjoy. And, that meant, eating Christmas cookies and enjoying eggnog, chocolates and hot chocolate, pretty much anything chocolate. And we actually kept our meals really pretty much in line with what we normally eat most of the time. So my indulging was really sugar related, more so than anything else. But not even a week later, I started feeling insanely crappy, like just super, super tired. And I really didn't feel like myself. Like I was just very, very lazy for one, and just really not great. Like I did not get to enjoy my Christmas the way I wanted to because I was feeling so crappy. And it also took into part with the other two S's that I didn't talk about. So I got to loop back to that because I actually got off track. Yay, that's me, right? Getting, I go on one thing to another. Anyway, so I just did not feel good. I realized my body wasn't as excited as my brain was to be indulging in all things Christmas. And I had to take a step back for a minute. I actually did a 24-hour fast, something I actually do usually twice a week. And I finally started to feel a lot better. I just kind of did like a little mini restart. Our bodies know what we need and what we don't need. And when we listen to them, it just is really good relationship. So like all we have to do is listen. They're there to tell us. And I kind of wish I would have listened to my body sooner and just, ended it very, like, when it had been such a exhausting Christmas break. Anyways, I want to get back to those 3 S's. So I mentioned sleep. Sleep is super important. And when I don't get enough sleep, then I indulge in more sugar. I don't want to move my body as much. And it just goes like, blah, like, like, blah. Anyways, so sleep, stress. When I am under stress and I am not using the tools to help me through the stress, because let's face it, we all get stress. We all have stress in our lives, maybe even more so now than ever before. And we can't avoid it. But we have tools at our fingertips to help us through it so we don't get so stressed out. And then the other one is sugar. And, for my Christmas story, that sugar, I find, there's been studies, sugar is actually more addictive than cocaine. So if you love your sugar, there's absolutely no wrong with that because it's our brains going, cray-cray on the sugar. And that is why, I had to take a step back over Christmas holidays and really just get away from that. And I'm actually doing a really nice cleanse now from sugar to get me back on track with that, because it's like you have a little sugar and that's okay. But then you have more sugar, and then all of a sudden you're on the sugar train and you can't get off because the more sugar the faster it gets and the faster it gets. And like all of a sudden you're in like sugar mountain and everything in your house is sugar. And it's just crazy. So those are the 3 S's I kind of live by these days. Get sleep, get good night's sleeps. And now I have kids, and last night, as my son woke up and, it gets interrupted. So sleep isn't perfect, but I actually went to bed earlier than I ever have. So I tried. And it's just, being gentle and loving on yourselves throughout any area you're on. And, that's where with my son not sleeping for 2 years, I leaned on sugar and then I didn't sleep. So those are the 3 S's I focus on to help me love my body, help relieve the stress in my life, get a good night's sleep. And I think those are really tied together. If you're super stressed out, you might not sleep. And if you're not sleeping, you might really get stressed out because, when you have a good night's sleep, things go better. And then obviously, staying away from large amounts of sugar. And those are my 3 S's. So last year, I kind of mentioned a little bit. Actually, no, I mentioned earlier about my son not sleeping for 2 years. But last year, let's rewind to last year, I was super stressed, having both kids home all of a sudden and just, trying to do a crazy balance and things like that, asking way too much of myself. I was eating more sugar than I do now. And when I look back, I can see why I didn't feel motivated or have any energy to kind of like seize the day and go out and do my thing. I was eating sugar and starches because I was tired and stressed out. And then, so it's this fun thing, right? I talk about the sugar train. I'm tired and I'm stressed, so I eat more sugar. And then I'm tired and stressed because I'm eating sugar and not getting sleep because of stress. And it's like this big snowball effect. And, it's just this big thing, all right? It's like, where do I stop it? And it's also crazy how we can live like that and not even realize it. Like I lived through it for 2 years with my son. I remember, I wouldn't sleep. So I was like telling my husband, I was like, can you go get me some donuts? Like that was my big lean on thing. And it was just insane. Like, so we're not going to go crazy down that train. I feel like that might have been on another podcast as well. But it all comes down to loving ourselves. So when you're stressed out and not sleeping, we don't need to lean on the sugar to feel better. But if we do, we can love ourselves where we're at. And if you're not getting sleep, it's okay to have those naps. Man, it's okay if you're still getting sleep and you need a nap. It's about loving ourselves where we're at. I'm not beating myself up over the last year of crazy sugar fixes. I'm learning from them. I'm learning from them because this year at Christmas, when I overindulged in all things deliciously sugar, I was like, whoa, I don't like feeling like this anymore, right? I wasn't beating myself up going, well, part of me, I was a little upset at myself for not feeling good. But once I figured out that it was all in my own control and all in my own hands, that I could feel better, then I leaned into love and I did better. Everything we go through can be a learning experience if we let it. And I've learned so much over my crazy, weird, maybe not loving, it wasn't loving, okay, let's be honest, not loving relationship with my body. I've learned so much. I put my body through so much, and I'm finally ready to listen to it. And it's definitely showing me things, like over Christmas break with the sugar, where it's like, whoa. And it's loving ourselves where we're at. So it's not so much about like, what's the latest diet or what do I need to do or what's the scale say or the tape measures. How do you feel? How does your body feel? Like if I sit too long, my body aches. If I don't do yoga for a while, my body aches. If I get stressed, like I have headaches. Our bodies are the best way to show us what we need to change or what area we need to send love to. Maybe you got to hit that yoga mat or do a little meditation. Or maybe your mind's been racing and you just have all these thoughts in your head. Maybe you need to write them down in your journal. Wherever you are right now, whatever your body feels, maybe your body is at the best physical amount, like best condition it's ever been in, then all the best, like I'm celebrating with you right now because that's where it's at. We need to feel good. That is the biggest thing. When our bodies feel good, then we can feel good and our lives can really just flow. But when we're beating ourselves up and not loving our bodies for where they are and then taking good care of them, because here's the truth, we only get one of them. We only have one body. Yes, you can get transplants and you can get, a new knee replacement when you're old enough kind of thing. But those, we don't have to wait till then to take care of our bodies. We can take care of them now in a very loving way. I can say now my body and I have a better relationship this year than I did last year, without a doubt. And oh, how happy I was to get back into a routine after, school was back in. Actually, I think I got back into a routine before, or slowly. I went real hard on the sugar and then I took that 24-hour fast and then I was just like, I felt, okay, I can't go that far again. But before I would have just kept eating myself into a sugar coma. Live the best way you can and learn from everything that's going on so you can just keep improving and loving your body and yourself along this journey. Now, I have to completely say, honestly say, I don't have it all figured out, for sure. Without a doubt, I do not have it all figured out. And I'm definitely not perfect when it comes to taking care of my body or even meditating and doing yoga. I am not perfect. That would, if I said, oh, I have it all figured out and I'm perfect, that would be complete lie. But I'm doing the best I can. And I sure have come a long way since, the years of, just treating my body in not healthy ways. Like I said, everything is a journey, and it's about enjoying the ride too. I've said this numerous times. Life is a journey. Everything is a journey. The relationship with ourselves, our body, all areas of ourselves, really, it's all a journey. It's about enjoying it. And when we love our bodies for what they are and we take care of them the best we can in that moment, then you can enjoy that ride just a little bit more. And just keep your eyes open to the lessons unfolding. Everywhere around you is a lesson that you can learn. And if you don't catch it the first time, our life has a way of repeating those lessons until you discover them. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, I have been on a very long, long journey towards loving my body. And it's definitely not 100%, but wow, it's definitely an improvement from over the years. And when I said earlier, and I made a slip of eating clean, that is my focus also, like the 3 S's, and then just eating as close to nature as possible on a mostly given basis. And really, it comes down to listening to your bodies. Listen to your body today. What is it telling you? Is it telling you to get up and move, drink some water, whatever it might be? Sleep, maybe get some sleep. I know that is my biggest focus right now, is just getting really good night's sleeps. The past little while, my sleep routine has not been as awesome or stellar as I'd like. So it's just really stepping back. There are so many ways and areas that you can love your body. It's just really about picking one or listening to your body and letting it tell you which one really needs to be addressed or focused on at the moment. And just, see it go, see how it goes. But try and enjoy and love your body in a new, unique way today, this week, whenever you have a moment. But remember, we only have one body. So take good care of it, because it loves you. And the more you love it, the more you'll get to enjoy your life and feel good in your body and in your skin. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.